So we're done with the second season at Ferncrest, but even though it's the off season, it doesn't mean that we're not doing anything. We have so many things to do, things like maintenance, picking up trash, fixing things that broke, but then we also want to do things that are going to help us make more revenue next year and make this even a better experience. So let me show you what I mean by walking you around and letting you know what we're going to be doing in the off season. As far as the domes that are already here, they have worked great. The one challenge with them that we noticed is definitely during the shoulder season, early spring, like April, and then the colder months like October, where it's gotten down into like the 20s even at night. We definitely designed them to be more of a seasonal dome because that was the purpose of the campground originally. But as we start to evolve and we want to have aspirations to stay open a little bit longer, have another bathroom facility that's not going to have to be shut down for the winter, we need to properly prepare these domes to be good in the cold. The biggest thing that we have to do is directly underneath the domes here, the decking, we didn't insulate them at all. So now what we have to do is we have to figure out a way to actually get underneath there and find a way to add insulation underneath the decks. This is gonna be a challenge because like if the decks were higher and you could like literally just go under and insulate them, that could work. But in a case like this, there's really no way to like slip underneath there. So the other alternative is just like you said, is we could build up a platform on the platform and add insulation to the decking, like on top of the decking, and then redo the flooring on top of that. So you'd actually like step up into the dome. It wouldn't be that high, but like, so this extra PVC, it could actually be a really good look because what you would essentially have is the decking would then, this PVC could go flush to that and actually be a little bit more of a flush looking deck, which actually is probably the way that we should have done it at first. However, that's a lot more work. Like there is a significant amount of effort that would go into building a deck on a deck, but it would be a really good look and it would allow us to have insulation so that when this is all like insulated on the inside, so we already have this insulation. And if the floor is insulated, then you really have a cozy dome. Because right now with limited heat source and then all the open air spots that are around the bottom, and then the fact that there's only a very thin vinyl floor here and then air beneath that means that there's really no way to heat this appropriately. So 50 degrees or more, no problem. Like you could have a little heat source in here when it's 50 degrees outside, 60 degrees outside, and it's comfortable. But it's when it dips below 50 degrees, it just starts to get, it just can't heat. One of the things that we want to do is add a few bigger domes. So one of the things that we realized with our Ferncrest franchise location in Oklahoma was the 23-foot dome is an amazing family amenity. Right here at Promised Land, we actually only have the 16-foot domes, and 16-foot domes, generally speaking, is only comfortable up to about 4 people, and that's like a small family. But the 23-foot dome, on the other hand, those can have a couple bunk beds in them, a king-size bed. You can really comfortably sleep 6 people or even more. So down here at the lower section of the campground is really the last place that we have good openings that we could add domes to. It's also right where we added new electrical service to, so we can pull electricity from those areas, and then it's also near a bathroom. So there's a lot of reasons why this area of the campground is going to be good for family domes. It's also right next to the playground, right next to the barbecue area. Even though it's maybe a little bit more public of an area, that's perfect for family, right? Like we'll leave the other areas for the more private domes, and then around here could be a really good area for probably up to 4 of the 23-foot domes. So right now we have 21 glamping sites set up at Ferncrest. I'd like to see it get to about 25 and then cap it at that. Believe it or not, this campground was a 67 site campsite before we converted it into Ferncrest, but we're not going to get anywhere near there because we like a lot of this open area. So a lot of the middle area, which is where a lot of the campsites were, is just meant to be more open for us. But this is also where on the perimeter of that open area is where we can do the 23-foot domes. This is one spot right here. So underneath these leaves, this is a great spot. We could have a 23-foot dome right here. This tree looks like we would take a tree like this down and then put a really nice big dome here. So again, bathrooms right there. We can pull the power from that. Playgrounds right there. So this is a really idyllic spot for a family dome. And then another family dome spot would be right over there. And then probably where we have some of those old RVs, we could have one there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That could be a really good cluster for family domes. Actually, this is 3. 1, 2, 3, and then maybe one could go here, right in here, with the window facing like up into the campground. Whereas like for these domes, it's all about the window location when you set up a dome, because you have that big panoramic window. So all of these domes we have looking into the forest. These domes here we would have looking still away from like the main corridors. Even though they're a little bit more public, there's still angles, there's still ways to position them so that they have a nice private view of trees or the campground. So by adding those 4 new domes, that would allow us to really increase the revenue of this property in a meaningful way, because not only are those going to be 4 more domes, which are the most rented structure here at Ferncrest, but they're also family domes. So we probably end up getting the best rates for those out of all the domes. I would think that we could probably get $300 to $400 a night on a weekend with a dome like that. Probably during the week, maybe like $200 to $250, which is more than the domes that we have, the 16-foot domes, because during the week we get, as low as like $169, $179 for the domes without hot tubs. And the family domes should be probably $50 to $100 more per night because of the size and the fact that they can sleep a lot more people. Earlier this spring, we put in hardwired landscape lighting in this main stretch that goes from the domes down to the bathroom. At night, it looks amazing, and it really is a needed both ambiance and also like illumination for people when they're walking around. What I'd like to do in the off season, probably not until next spring once the snow melts, is add more landscape lighting, potentially down the main corridors, so that we can increase a little bit of the illumination so that people can walk around a little bit better, but also create a really beautiful, almost resort-like feel. I think lighting actually goes a long way. Same thing with the lights that we did around the communal fire pit area. It makes it like glow at night and gives a really great camp vibe that also gives some practical use by having it be illuminated. So in order to extend our season and have our domes be usable in the wintertime, we need a new bathroom facility. We've been talking about this for a while, but this is the off season to make it happen. We got to put in a new septic as well as a new bathroom. So the plan is to have the new bathroom facility somewhere in this vicinity so that we can have a bathroom that has easy access to the well house because we need water. The challenge with putting a bathroom here is going to be making sure it gets water and then also has access to the new septic. The water has to be trenched to 4 feet deep down. Our pump house is right here. So with the pump house over here, if we're able to utilize either here or over there, probably over there for a bathroom, we're able to run a trench line not that far to the bathroom. We're able to pull electricity as well, probably from there. And then we would be able to put our septic tank in this vicinity, which is where the old bell tents were. And then our septic field, we already spent a few $1,000s planning this out, but we have a septic field tested and approved for over there behind the communal fire pit area. So that entire project, that's a big project. The bathroom facility itself is probably somewhere in the magnitude of $50,000. The septic, depending on the quotes that come in, that's probably gonna be around like $20,000 to $30,000. And then trenching and doing all the other work, let's say it's gonna cost, another $10,000 to $20,000. So in order for this all to happen, we have to budget around $100,000 to get a new bathroom here. But what that does for us is that not only gives us another bathroom, which is going to make a better experience, but it also allows this cluster of domes over here, the 6 domes that we have here, to stay open year round. So if we can keep those open year round, it's definitely not going to pay for it in one winter. Winter is going to have lower occupancy and lower rates, but over time, that bathroom will be paid back by the additional rental that we can get. The other thing that it'll do is for these domes, which are our premium domes with hot tubs, during the just day-to-day use, it's a closer bathroom facility for them. So not only in the winter is it a place for them to go, but right now they have to walk down to that bathroom facility down here, which isn't a huge deal, but it does create a little bit less of an experience for people, especially when they have to go to the bathroom at night. This is going to be a lot closer to them. So it gives us now 3 bathroom facilities on this 10-acre campground, which frankly might be a little bit overkill. If we were to do it all over again and do it from scratch, we probably wouldn't even need that bathroom up front because that is the farthest away. That's almost in the parking lot area. So that's probably the bathroom that is less of an ideal bathroom to have, but since we bought an old campground, that's where it was. So there is a ton of work to do in the off season. Those are the bigger projects that we have to take care of, but there's so many small things. There's things like improvements to the camp store, the existing bathrooms. Even though we're adding a new bathroom, we want to make the existing bathrooms even better as well. So a lot of these smaller projects are things that are going to add up to a substantial investment in time and money in the off season. We're expecting that we're going to spend another $150,000 in advance of opening for season 3. But we're pretty confident with the way that the glamping industry has gone and the way that the customer base has shown up in a meaningful way. We had almost 2,000 people stay with us this season. And as we grow that business, the ability for us to reinvest back into the business only increases. So we know that that investment is going to be a worthwhile investment. And all of that said, in order for it to all work out, we need to get it all done by April 5th, which is our first day of season 3. So if you want to see how this all turns out and if the investment was worthwhile or if we fall on our face and lose everything, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and see you around.